Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler from House of Cards TCG, and I am bringing you a insane deck profile post banlist, post Grand Creators, and that is Virtual World Adventurer Brave Token. These two engines together work so well. It's just insane. If you go to our past videos or if you go to our playlist tab and you go to Dueling Book Duels, you'll see some past duels of me with this deck, and you'll be able to see some further combo lines that I'm able to do. So that way, if you enjoy this deck and you enjoy the profile and the combo tutorial I'm about to bring you, you can then further watch other combos I do with this so you can see how it performs and how it plays and the different lines that I decide to take with it. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. We are trying to hit 2,000 subs by the end of this month. It's February 2022. So we want to get to 2,000 subs. So make sure to like and subscribe. And also, last point of advice. This deck is not budget, but I will be providing you with some budget options that can help you with this deck. If you decide to spend your money on the Adventurer engine and you don't have much money left after that, well, I'll provide you some budget options. So without further ado, let's go on to probably one of the best decks I've built and the profiles, and it's got to be one of the strongest by far. So let's jump on in.
House of Cards
TCG.
We are going to start with the best VW monster that you have, which is a Lulu. Lulu, what she does is you can target a virtual world card on the field. You can send one of the opposite of what it targets, so spell, trap, monster, and then you can add the third. So she is your adder. So if you target a spell, you can send a trap, add a monster. If you target a monster, you can send a trap, add a spell. So Lulu, absolutely insane. She is a really good monster. She allows you to get to your city, and if that needs you to get a Chuchi on the field. She also allows you to add a monster if you already opened city or you opened Qinglong. But basically what you need to know about Lulu is all the virtual monsters except for Nian are a Foolish Burial, and then they all have a different third effect. So we're going to go into that. So Lulu's third effect is to add. Then we have your other, which is sometimes your normal summon, which is Gigi. What Gigi does is it's a Foolish Burial and then adds an end phase from grave. So Gigi sends opposite of what you target. You target a monster, you can send a spell or trap. If you target a spell, you can send a trap or a monster. And then you can add a virtual monster from your graveyard back to your hand at end phase. So this is an add at end phase, and it does not matter if you target a monster, you still add a virtual monster at end phase. So there's no restrictions on that with Gigi. Then you have 3 of Kirin. Kirin is your double Foolish Burial. So if you target a spell, you can send a trap and monster, and vice versa. The thing with Kirin and Lulu that you need to understand is those are optional effects, and same with Gigi. Gigi is an optional effect to add an end phase. So if you don't, it's not mandatory. So if you pass priority to your opponent, or you pass turn to your opponent, and you didn't add with Gigi, it's not a mandatory. So then you missed your opportunity. So with Kirin, you can target a trap, send a spell, summon it, and then you don't have to send the monster. It is optional to do that, but Kirin is your double Foolish Burial. I am only playing 2 of the Lao Lao. Now you're probably thinking that's interesting, but Lao Lao is searchable throughout the deck, and if you're able to combo, they're probably going to ash you based on your Brave engine or your Adventure engine. So running Lao Lao at 2, I think, is fine. I haven't had an issue with running Lao Lao at 2, but it's a really important. So Lao Lao is a really good card. It's a level 6 tuner, and Lao Lao allows you to Foolish and then special summon a monster from the graveyard. It does not matter. It could be a level 6 or a level 3, but it has to be a virtual world. So Lao Lao is your basically your special summon from graveyard. And then we run 1 Nian. You're probably thinking, what do you mean only 1 Nian? Here is why. Nian is a great Foolish Burial target. I don't run any Pot of Desires. I only need one Nian. I don't want to open it, and it's so easy to send. And I have had 0 issues running Nian at 1. I think Nian at 1 is actually really good in this deck. So 2 Roshi, 1 Nian. I still see my Virtual World engine or the other engine that I have. So this is a great ratio. I've had no issues. I think out of all the duels I've done, which you're probably talking about at least 50 games, which is 15 matches, 20 matches. Out of all that, maybe one time I wanted to Nian, but never at that point. It's just so free with Chuchi to being able to shuffle back and other things. So 1 Nian is fine. Now getting into what Nian does, mind you, is if a level 3 is normal or special summoned, you can then special summon Nian from grave and it becomes a tuner, but is banished at the end after it leaves the field. So Nian is basically your foolish. You send it to the grave, and then you can special summon it back as a tuner. Getting into your Virtual World spells, you must play 3 City. There's no way around this. This card is broken. This card allows you to get to your Chuchi and allows you to get to your Qinglong. Now, many people think Qinglong is a brick. Qinglong is not a brick. When I'm going second, I love opening up Qinglong because now I can negate your Winda. I can negate your whatever you want to throw out there. Like I'm forcing an interruption. Your DPE, I'm going to Qinglong and then I'm going to force your DPE, force that pop, or I'm going to negate it. It gets rid of interruptions. So City, when it activates, basically its biggest effect is you can then activate a Qinglong or a Chuchi from the deck face up on the field. This is huge to get your Chuchi live turn 1. One of the better cards in the deck. Qinglong. Qinglong has 2 effects. Like I just said, Qinglong can banish a Virtual World card from your grave to negate face-up monster. So what you can do is you can City, add Qinglong, activate Qinglong, then banish your City that you just searched Qinglong with to then negate. I love when I see this card and then I'm playing against Invoked and then the Invoked player is just playing and I'm going to go do my thing and then they decide to schism, bring out Winda and you're like, okay, cool, activate Qinglong, banish, negate, let's keep playing. It's broken. We're going to play 2 Chuchi. Chuchi has 2 effects. Oh, as well, Qinglong. What Qinglong does is you can banish it from the graveyard, and then it searches you a Virtual World monster, and then you have to discard. So it's your Rhoda for the deck, basically. Chuchi has 2 effects. Chuchi, obviously, you can shuffle 2 Virtual World names that are banished, and then you can pop a face-up card on the field. And then when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to target a Virtual World monster and either increase or decrease its level by 3. So that comes up a lot. So we play 2 of that. And then we play 1 Zhanwu. Zhanwu effects are 2 different things. On the field, you can then put a attacking monster into defense. This is great when Bird Up was a thing. And then you can put their XYZ as they're trying to attack into defense and they can't go into Zeus. As well as its biggest effect is in the grave, you can banish it to then special summon a virtual monster from your grave and then discard a card. So this is your monster reborn basically in the grave. Now getting into the Adventurer engine, we're going to run with 3 Enchantress. No way I'd cut this to 2. This card is insane. I want to see it, and I need to, it's discard fodder. It is a great level 3 extender, so you can special summon this if you control a token, as well as it's a great foolish target of Beatrice, aka we're playing Beatrice. Like, this card is actually insane. You can normal summon this. You can normal summon this if you have access to a spell or trap. Bring out your Lulu. Then you can link these off or synchro these off for a Stardust. Then use its effect in grave to then go search right. Then you could use right, bring out a token, search Griffin, and that's your 5th summon is your Griffin. And you still have Star. It's insane what you can do. So Water Enchantress must have at 3. I finally locked down my 3 collector's rares and I can't wait. Then for your next, we have 3 right of our Aramezer. I still can't say. I'm gonna say Armesia. So 3 rights. I'm still looking for my other 2 collector's rares, but you're going to play the 3 of these. What this does is it special summons a token, and then you can activate a Fateful Adventurer from the deck, and that is huge because that's how you get into your Griffin or your Enchantress if you need to get into that. And I'm going to go over all this in the combo tutorial. We're going to play 1 Griffin. The Griffin Rider is your Omni Negate. It can, as long as you control a token, you can special summon it, and then you can Omni Negate, shuffle it back into the deck, and then that is your Omni Negate and destroy. Then you have your 1 Faithful Adventurer. I just locked down my collector's rare of this. Cannot wait. This card is absolutely broken. It's a continuous spell, and what it does is when a monster is normal or special summon, you can search an equip spell. Okay, that's cool. That's going to be your Draco back. Then you can activate it, and when you can search a monster that mentions adventure token in the text, which is your Griffin and your Water Enchantress, then discard a card. A lot of times you can add your Draco back. Draco back is insane, especially going second. It is great discard fodder. So Draco back, what it does is when it's equipped to a non-effect, which is aka your token, you can bounce a card on your opponent's field. How does this come up? I don't know. Skill Drain. There can be only one. Mystic Mine. Rivalry. Any of those cards or a window. It does not matter. Like this outs any floodgate. So it bounces any card back to your opponent's field. So right brings out token. Then you have to normal or special summon anything. It could be Griffin or one of your virtual worlds. Activates Adventurer. Adventurer searches Draco back. You can activate Draco back, or you can continue to play, discard it. When this card is discarded and you control a token, you can actually then use its grave effect, which is to equip it to the token. So it's free discard fodder to then equip it to the token, activate effect, bounce a card on your opponent's field. Absolutely insane. Going first, I do tend to side it out, but it's in my main deck, and when I go second, I have to have it. 3 E-Tellies. E-Telly is at 3 now, and it is insane. You have to play 3 E-Tellies. I'm looking for collector's rare of these. If you have them, message me or comment down below. Let's work something out. So I'm looking for 3 E-Tellies. E-Telly is going to special summon a level 3 or lower psychic monster. Then we're going to play 3 of the droplets. Droplets are insane this format. You have to play 3. We know what that does. 1 Call by the Grave. 2 Talents. Talents because everybody's playing hand traps. This is going to resolve if you see it, or it's a great going second card. And then we're going to play this 1 Lancia. I'll explain why we're playing 1 Lancia. I side the other 2. And then, don't mind me, I'm waiting for my snows to come in. But I wanted to get this deck profile in. So 1 Fairy Tale Snow. Fairy Tale Snow, broken in this deck. Fairy Tale Snow, banish 7 from the graveyard. Summon it. It's a Book of Moon on one of your opponent's monsters, and then it triggers a lot of your other decks. So that is the main deck. A couple tech options that you could play if there's something that you don't want. Of course, what you could play, I'm going to get this out of the side. You could play the Gamma package in the main deck. Like if you don't have talents and droplets, I would suggest playing Gamma. You could run 3 skill drains. If you wanted, skill drains are great with Virtual World. You could definitely play them. You could run 3 ogres. You could run 3 Ash. Ogre is really good this format, so you could definitely try this out. I thought about putting this in the main deck as an E-Telly target, but the difference between our deck and everybody else's deck is our deck is all psychics. So E-Telly, a lot of times you're going to bring out Lulu or you're going to bring out Nian. So Ogre's not necessary, I don't feel, but Ogre is a good option. And then, of course, you could also play the Scythe Lock instead of Lancia, and I'm going to explain that. If you don't have Snow, right, and you don't want to get Snow, you could just play Scythe instead of Snow, and Scythe is really good, obviously. So those are the tech options. Let's go into the extra deck. So extra deck, for our Synchro 6s, we have 1 Stardust Charge Warrior. When it's summoned, that's a draw. A Coral Dragon has 2 effects. So what Coral Dragon does is when it leaves the field, you can draw a card. Mind you, if it's banished, like if you have Shinshin and it leaves the field and it's banished, you don't get the draw. And it has a second effect that you can discard 1 card and destroy a card on your opponent's field. This is great back row removal. Then we play 1 of the Juju. Juju is Send, basically. It's a rank 6, as well as being a virtual world monster is pretty important. So Juju, great going second card. Now, for your Synchro 7s, I'm going to explain why I play what I play. We have Yazi. Yazi comes up so much. And you're probably thinking, what? How does Yazi come up in Virtual World? Let me explain. The token is level 4. Lulu's level 3. Lulu is a tuner. And in my past duels, you'll see how Yazi comes up. Because if your opponent has anything on the field, right? Rite of Armisia brings out token. Normal summon Lulu. Synchro those off for a 7. Boom, out something. Insane. Yazi, so good in this deck. Then we play the Zolkin with the Crystal Wing. So obviously, Zolkin requires 2 level 6, a tuner and a non-tuner. You can leave those, activate Zolkin, or summon Zolkin. Then you could set a spell or trap that triggers Zolkin to bring out the Crystal Wing. Also, I should mention, Shooting Riser is not needed in this deck. I've thought about playing Shooting Riser, and I had it in my extra deck. Never came up, not once. Yazi comes up a lot. Cut Shooting Riser, put Yazi in. Promise. You'd be so happy. So Crystal Wing is your monster negate. It has other effects, but its big thing is to prevent you from getting nibbed. But Crystal Wing, still a great card. Still need this package in here. For your level 9, we have a Shinshin. Shinshin is your floodgate. It is your banish. Everything that leaves the field gets banished. This is how you avoid droplets. So if your opponent goes to droplet you and you have Shinshin, they can't go E-Telly, chain droplets, send the E-Telly. Because what they need to do is anything that leaves the field gets banished, and droplets says that you have to send to the graveyard. So Shinshin is a great out for droplets because they have to use cards from their hand, which is utilizing their whole resource. So Shinshin is insane. Now, let's get into the rank 10s, the Synchro 10s. I'm still messing around with this, but the Synchro 10s are the bread and butter of this deck. So we got one Cheng Ying. This card is absolutely broken. What Cheng Ying does is if a card is banished, then you can trigger and banish a card on res. You can trigger this effect that banish a card on your opponent's field and their graveyard, as well as if it were to be destroyed by card effects, you can banish a card from your graveyard that's not an activated effect. And then lastly, it gains 100 attack and defense for each banished card and loses, your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card. Mind you, Snow banishes 7. Shinshin banishes everything. I was playing against Sword Soul and there was 19 banished cards between the two of us, even without desires. Like, card is broken and is a must. You have 1 Baron and 2 Barons. I know, it's crazy. The Synchro 10s are so easy to get to in this. I think you need 2 Barons. You don't have to play 2. This deck is still viable with 1 Baron. I promise you, you don't have to have 2 Barons. I like running 2 Barons because I think it does come up. I've thought about cutting a Baron, and I'll explain what I think about cutting it with. But having 2 Barons, it's kind of important. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'll explain why in the combo tutorial so I can show you why. But I am running with 2 Barons. And then for your XYZs, I run 1 Beatrice. This is your send on your turn and your opponent's. The Fan is 2 level 6s. It's a banish that banishes a card from your opponent's field and graveyard. M7 adds a card back from, or a monster back from your graveyard back to your hand. Then we run Gaia, which is for your Zeus, and that is going to wrap up the extra deck. So I do have some alternate options for you if you wanted to run it. You could run the Muddy Mud Dragon with the Red Eyes Dragoon. That's still a play that you can definitely do with this. So Mud Dragon plus Sulkin can make Dragoon. Definitely can still play that. You could play the Utopic Future in the Draco. With Beatrice, you can still make a Breaksword. And actually, if you were to cut a second Baron, I would put Breaksword in there. So if you don't want to run 2 Barons, put Breaksword in there because I think that Breaksword is really good. I've actually contemplated cutting one of my 2 Barons for Breaksword. So that's something I'm thinking about. But if you put Breaksword in there, you can run the Utopic Future and the Draco because M7, Beatrice, Breaksword, and Beatrice, those all can then go into the Utopia and the Draco Future, provide another negate. You could run the Croc, the Vermilion, and then the Fortress. This is a different line that you could play. Vermilion is a destroy on your opponent's field by banishing a tuner. Croc is a draw, and then these two can go into a banish, which is the Fortress. You can also play the Utopia Beyond with the Sigma, which is a OTK kind of potential. This makes all your opponent's monsters 0. Then this swings for double banish. Also, this is unaffected under skill drain, so that's something else to note. So that is it for the extra deck. For the side deck, what I've been running is the Gamma package. Of course, you know I'm going to side that in. The other 2 Lancias, I do have a token collector in here. This is a Beatrice target. You can send it. It's insane. Droll is really good this format, especially with the Adventure engine out there. Then I have 1 Red Reboot, 1 Harpy, 2 Lightning Storms, and then I'm undecided about my 15th, whether it be a Pank or a Scythe. I think I might put Scythe in here over Pank just because Scythe is an insane card in the side deck. So that is it for the deck profile. Now let's dive into the combo portion of this video. All right, diving into the combo portion of this video, I'm going to show you how broken and how insane both these engines are because it's actually wild. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw 5 cards. We open up with the Drip, the Droplet, the Enchantress, a Lulu, another Enchantress, and a City. Okay, this is full combo. I don't know what to tell you. This is full combo. So let me show you what we're gonna do first. Let's go ahead and activate City. Let's see if the City goes ahead and baits an Ash. If you didn't know, you can Ash that. We'll go ahead and activate Chuchi here. It's gonna do that. Now, since we open up both of these and this, like this is actually wild. I'm gonna show you how. So what we're probably going to do here, we're going to Lulu target Chuchi. So what Lulu's going to do is we're going to go ahead and send a Qinglong. We're going to go ahead and summon Lulu, and we get to add a monster now. Because we targeted trap, sent spell, add a monster. So I'm probably not going to add Gigi here. Instead, I think I'm going to add the Lily, and I'll show you the reasoning why. Now what we're going to do is, and this is our Roshi access, so that's really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and activate Qinglong, discarding our Water Enchantress, which is absolutely free. And let's just go ahead and grab ourselves a Roshi. So we grab Roshi. Now what we do is we banish our Water Enchantress. Let me just scoot all this over here. This is our hand. Banish the Water Enchantress. That will go ahead and grab a Rite of Armisia. Now we activate our Rite. That's going to go ahead and special out a token. And this is a level 4 token. So that goes there. And then on resolution, that's going to activate our Faithful Adventurer. What Faithful Adventurer does, this is going to be able to grab us our Griffin by discarding a card. We can actually probably provide a little bit more fodder because we were still pretty good here as far as this goes. So what I want to do next is we're going to go ahead and normal summon our Water Enchantress here. You're like, what? That's crazy. Trigger our Faithful Adventurer. That's going to go ahead and grab our Draco back. This Draco back is now free discard. So now we activate Faithful Adventurer. Again, this is with no hand traps, but if you see in my past duels, I play through hand traps and all this. But we're going to go ahead and free discard our Draco back, and we're going to go ahead and activate our Draco back Engrave, and then this is going to be equipped to the token. It's just basically here. Now we can activate Effective Griffin to special summon. That is summon 4. That does provide us with an Omni Negate. And again, we still have Roshi, Kieran, and Droplet in hand. Now, what we're able to do is we're going to take Lulu and the Water Enchantress. I kind of put these here. These are going to be our banished. And then what we're going to do with those is we're going to go into a Coral Dragon. I know, it's crazy, but trust me on this, okay? That is going to be Coral Dragon, and Coral Dragon is going to be perfectly fine here because now what we're going to be able to do is we can actually double Foolish if we wanted to with the Kieran, and then the Kieran is going to be real good. So we need a virtual monster here on the field, so maybe Roshi might be better looking at our lines. Roshi, but I want to save the Roshi. So let's just go ahead and take the token, and we're going to take the Coral Dragon. This falls off as well, and we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a Baron. Put Baron up here. That's going to be our Omni Negate. Coral Dragon effect is then going to activate Engrave. That's going to allow us to draw a card. Be fantastic to see a GG here. But let's see what we go ahead and open up. So we draw into another Rite. That's perfectly fine. That's actually Extender for next turn. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and activate Kieran, target Chuchi. So Kieran is going to provide us with a double Foolish. We're going to go ahead and send another Qinglong. And then we're going to send our Nian. So that's going to provide us with the level 6. Now Roshi is going to activate targeting Lily. And what we're going to send here is we're going to send off our Chuchi, I do believe. Actually, I don't want to send Chuchi. I want to send a Zhanwu. That's going to go ahead and special out Roshi. Then Roshi can trigger. And Roshi is then going to go ahead and bring out Lulu, which is going to trigger Nian, and then Nian's going to special summon itself. I know this is a lot, but just hear me out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the Lily and we're going to take the Roshi. We're going to overlay those for a Beatrice. We're going to go ahead and activate Beatrice effect. Now our targets typically are going to be the looking at our hand, so we already have a Water Enchantress engraved. That's one of our targets for Beatrice. We already have it engraved, plus we opened a Rite, so there's no reason to send another Water Enchantress. So instead what we're going to do is, looking at this, we're going to send a Kieran because we have a Nian. So basically when we revive, these two right here are going to make our Shen Shen. So we're going to send the Lily back, and what we're going to send here is actually, I want to send a Lancia. Or you could send a Snow, it doesn't matter. So let's just send Snow. I wanted to explain why Lancia, but we're going to send Snow, that's fine. Now, what we could do is we're going to take our Lulu and we're going to take our Griffin. I know, this is wild. here you have two options. I'm going to put both down. So you could make the Sovereign or you could make a Baron. If you're not playing a second Baron, you could make Sovereign. And yes, going first Sovereign is actually insane because Snow will banish, triggering Sovereign, and this comes up a lot. Or you can run a second Baron. I'm going to explain to you why. Say we use this as a negate. Say they were going to drop Nib on us or they were going to send anything else. So we can use Baron as a negate. So this Baron has been used. Now what we could do is activate Shanwu, banishing Shanwu, and then we're going to special back out our Kirin. Now we could take Nian, just put these here so you can see them, Nian and the Kirin, and that is going to bring out our Shinshin. Okay, so what do we have here? Let me see. Did we activate GG? Make sure we don't miss that in the end phase. No, we did not. All right, so what do we have here? We have Droplet, which we can set. So we're going to set Droplet. We have a Rite of Armisia, which is follow-up for next turn. We also have an Enchantress Engrave, which is follow-up for next turn. We have a Snow Engrave, which is going to be a banished Book of Moon. So what we have here is all this follow-up. Beatrice is going to send. We have a double Baron or a Cheng Ying. So you can keep in mind with that. I typically like Baron. I'll go over both options here. So then when we pass, we're going to activate Beatrice on draw phase, right? Activate Beatrice. This is where you can send either your Scythe or your Lancia. We'll send Lancia. Now we're going to trigger our Baron, because say we use this negate. Like if they try to drop Nib or they try to drop something else, we use Baron effect, special back out Lancia. Now, here's what we will have. Another Omni negate, because it's once per turn while face up on the field. We have not used this Baron. A Lancia to banish whenever we need to. A Shinshin, which banishes, keep this in mind, with a Droplet. And a Chuchi pop with a Book of Moon with Snow. And then plenty of follow-up with the Enchantress for next turn. And like keep playing. It's actually insane. So you might be thinking, okay, well these two kind of go against each other. Well, what they do is if they Droplet your board or whatever, you can chain Chuchi, then trigger Lancia. So if they Dark Ruler or they Droplet, okay, you can't respond with monster effects. So you can then chain Chuchi or you can chain Droplet. It does not matter, whatever you decide that you want to do. And then response, you can chain the Lancia. So you can actually under Shinshin send the Lancia. Lancia gets banished. Or if yeah, that's fine. So Lancia gets banished. Now they can't banish. They spent their Droplet on this. You still have a Droplet. You have a Chuchi pop if you didn't use it. Like absolutely insane. You still have Snow. Snow can then banish 7 cards out of your graveyard, which is free. And then you have plenty of follow-up. So that's a kind of a going first board. Now rewind a little bit. Okay, so let's put Lancia back into here. Let's rewind just a hair. This is back in the graveyard. This Baron is up here. Let's say that we use the Cheng Ying instead of the Baron. So we went Cheng Ying, we went Beatrice. Beatrice had Roshi. So we're just rewinding. No big deal. We have these two guys. They're all right here. Chuchi. Yes. Okay. So here's where we're at here. So offensively, if you went with the Cheng Ying, you have a Baron negate. If you haven't used it. If you did use it, you still have your Roshi to discard Beatrice, send a Lancia or Scythe. It doesn't. This is why sometimes I think about playing Scythe in my main deck, but I'm just not sold on it yet. And the reason why is because not everybody's going to be on that, but you could play Scythe instead of Lancia. So then Baron, it's going to tag out, shuffle it, put itself back up there. It actually doesn't go to grave. It bounces to extra deck. So then you still have Lancia, Supreme, Shinshin, and all that. Now, your opponent starts playing, right? What you do is you activate Snow. Snow can then banish 7. That's an easy banish. We'll banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we could even banish our Kirin. We actually already have a right, so I like that. So then we'll banish Roshi, okay? There's our 7. That triggers Snow. On res, we do Chainlink 1, Sovereign, Chainlink 2, Snow. Snow books. Then Sovereign's going to banish on the field and their graveyard. Then, if they Droplet any of this, okay, we Chuchi effect, we can still pop, because we can literally shuffle any of these two back, including some that we just banished. So you can shuffle back Nian, you can shuffle back Zhanwu, you can shuffle back Roshi, Kirin, does not matter. And then basically, Chuchi can then respond with a pop if they decide to drop their Dark Ruler. You can activate Chuchi, target anything here. You could target, I don't know, Beatrice or whatever, chain Lancia, and then that's going to go ahead and stop them from banishing, because Lancia hits so many cards out of this format, hits PK, it hits all of them, so Lancia, really good card. So that basically is the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think below. This deck has been treating me so well, so make sure to go like and subscribe. Check out past videos that we've done. That way the past videos you can see other duels with me with this deck and what I can do. So you can see that it's absolutely insane. So I appreciate everybody for watching. And this has been Tyler with House of Cards TCG, signing out.
House of Cards.
TCG.